This video is going to be about the fuel pressure sensor. We're going to see how to do a couple of tests using a voltmeter, and we're going to see things to look for if something goes wrong with the fuel pressure, or for example you cannot start the car. So the first thing you want to do if the engine doesn't start properly is to check the live data. After you start the engine, just take the car for a drive, check for the load value. This is a very important factor when it comes to fuel pressure. In this example, the throttle position is irrelevant because it's not reacting. This is not a gasoline engine, but here we have with orange the load value, and you can see the green line, which is the fuel rail pressure. It's following up with the load value. So if the load value goes down, also the fuel pressure will go down, and it will go down quite significantly because here we have the range. So we've got here, for example, on this line 36,000, and on top here we've got 126,000 kilopascals. Obviously we're going to have as well an increase in engine RPM, but this is not relevant because we need the load value, since when the engine is under a load it's consuming more diesel, therefore the fuel pressure will need to keep up with that consumption. Now let me take out this cover, and down here we've got the high pressure fuel pump. This is the fuel pressure regulator. We've got a connector here. You can see it takes the fuel from the fuel filter. Then the high pressure fuel pump will take that fuel, pressurize it, and send it to this metal pipe which goes to the fuel rail. On top of the fuel rail we've got the fuel pressure sensor, and from the fuel rail we've got these tubes which goes to each injector. So as you can see, the high pressure fuel pump is powered by the timing belt, which means that once the engine spins faster, also the high pressure fuel pump will in theory deliver higher pressure, but that's why we've got this fuel pressure regulator, which will basically deliver high pressure even though the engine speed is low and the engine is under a load, as we could see here on the live data. So if this thing fails, the engine will end up with extremely low power because it's going to be low pressure in the fuel rail and high demand of fuel. And before that, another thing you want to inspect is the diesel filter, because if this unit allows air to go in, then the sucking power of the high pressure fuel pump will be very limited, and therefore it's very likely that the pressure pump will take in air and also will deliver air to the injectors, making the engine running very rough. There are just two wires, so let's see how much resistance we should see here. We've got 2.5 ohms. Now let's unplug as well the connector from the fuel pressure sensor. There we go. Here we have three wires, and I've got first connector on the lowest pin there. Let's touch the second pin, and we've got 2.7 million ohms. Now let's see this upper pin here, and we've got 6,690 ohms. We've got open loop. Okay, so we are done with the resistance. Now let's go to direct current, and I'm going to connect this black terminal to the ground. And let's see, first the fuel pressure regulator. We've got 12 volts on one pin, and the second one 2.5 volts. Now I want to see the voltage values when it's connected. The cover is out. Notice that we've got a more thicker wire, and this has again the battery voltage, and again we've got 12.1 on the second one. Now let's see the values on the fuel pressure sensor. 5 volts first pin, 5 volts again, and nothing here. These wires are exposed, so okay, 5 volts on the below wire, 0.5 volts on the middle wire, the top one, nothing again. Now if you didn't find the same values as I did here, especially the resistance test, then you might have to replace these components, and here we just need a wrench. And on this unit here we've got basically 4 torque screws. So yeah, have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.